Hello everyone. Today I would like to talk about NP5011. It's the Admiralty symbols and abbreviations used on Admiralty paper charts. So 5011 is for charts and 5012 is used for the electronic charts. So this is no more of that much use nowadays because we have entirely switched to electronic charts. But as you know, we keep paper charts on board in case of an emergency as a backup. And apart from that, also from the exam perspective, there's a question which talks about the symbols, and you need to be pretty thorough with the symbols, in order to draw it properly in the answer sheet. So this is your go-to book for that. This is 2018 edition, and if I'm not wrong, there has been one more edition after this, and this is NP5011 7th edition 2018, published by the United Kingdom Hydrographic Office. And yeah, so basically, why we need to know about the symbols is because as a navigator of the ship, you need to know that which areas of the sea or the ocean you need to avoid, and if you want to alter course to get away from a fishing boat or from some traffic, some sort of traffic, you need to know whether you can alter to that particular side or not, because if there's a wreck there, you might be avoiding one close quarter situation, but you might end up getting grounded or something like that. So it's really important to as a navigator to be aware of all the important symbols while you're standing on the bridge. And from the exam perspective, apart from as I mentioned, the question number 8, which comes about the symbols, it is also very important in passage planning. You cannot end up drawing the course over a wreck. So that's it's going to be a blunder. So yeah, you need to keep in mind all of what NP5011 says, and you need to be extremely thorough with all the important symbols in order to go about stuff. So this is the contents. Uh, this is the index of the book. What all is included has been mentioned here. Chart number, title, marginal notes, position, distances, directions, compass. You can always refer to these sections in order to clear any of your doubts you might have while using the charts. Topography, natural features. It can be a cliff, a mountain, and a sandbank. So all the natural features are uploaded here. Ports, hydrography, tides, currents, depths, nature of the seabed. Tides, currents, nature of the seabeds is mostly referred when you want to know whether the ground is or the bottom is good for anchoring or not, because you want a bottom where your anchor will be able to hold better, and accordingly you can always refer to the symbol to know which kind of seabed it is. Rocks, wrecks, obstruction, extremely important from the exam perspective. Tracks, routes, area limits, aids to navigation services, lights, buoys, which kind of light, which kind of buoy, all those cardinal marks, and what the light says about the flashing duration or the color. You can refer to this section. Also, this book sometimes has some corrections uh, which are to be updated if and whenever that happens. Not usually, but sometimes it happens that the 5011 also has corrections similar to our notices to mariners. So this is the introduction. NP5011 is primarily a key to symbols and abbreviations used on Admiralty and international paper and raster charts and leisure folios compiled by the UKHO. Variations may occur on charts adopted into the Admiralty series that were originally produced by another hydrographic office. Where these symbols and abbreviations are easily understood, they will not be included as examples in this publication. Symbols and abbreviations shown on electronic chart display and information systems may differ from those described in this document. As I told you in the beginning, the ECDIS in ECDIS we for ECDIS symbols we refer to MP5012. So this is the layout, the schematic layout of MP5011. This is like giving you an idea how to refer to the book, and these are the keys. This where the one is circled, it means the section, subsection, and henceforth you can read this up later and get an idea. The most important thing here is this particular mark. It means that this representation or usage is obsolescent. That means it is no longer in use basically. So yeah, metric charts and fathom charts. Mostly we use metric charts nowadays, and you can read these important definitions later on. Drawing height is important. Underlined figures on rocks and banks which uncover indicate height above chart datum. They are given in meters and decimeters or in feet as appropriate. So this is how a chart would look, and these is information it would contain. So again, this has a key to what it really means, what it exactly means. Chart number on the Admiralty series. Schematic layout of an Admiralty INT chart reduced in size. Chart number in International Chart Series INT. Use of WGS84 Geodetic Reference System, which is the standard one we mostly use, WGS84. A reference in depth units may be shown. Publication note imprint shown in date of publication as a new chart. This one, fourth. Fifth, reproduction and copyright acknowledgement note. So yeah, this is not that much important. You can have a look if you want to later. So the B part, it talks about the positions, distances, directions, and compass, the latitude, longitude, and all those abbreviations which are used, what they actually mean. Like NA stands for northeast, and control points, distance marks, what this means, viewpoint, benchmark, fixed point, observation spot, and this was the symbol I spoke to you about, that this might not be used anymore. Position, distances, directions, and compass. Yeah, it's a continuation of that. Just still continuing here. So yeah, this candela stands for the intensity of the light. I guess all of you know that. And yeah, capital M stands for mile, sea mile. It's usually written under the lighthouse to know the range of the light, and then when you know the range, you can find the geographical range and the present luminous range from the. This is called the nominal range. And yeah, what this means is deflection, that how much of a variation is there. 4 degree 30 minutes west, and annually you need to compound for that. It's written here, I guess. Yeah, annual change 9 degree east, that is magnetic variation decreasing 9 minutes annually. It's pretty self-explanatory, I guess. Here, all the natural features, coastline. This is a surveyed one. This is unsurveyed. Steep coast. This can be of good use to the navigation navigating officer, because when you're taking radar bearings, you want as they say, a conspicuous object. So these coastlines, which are steep and there's a cliff, they make up for good radar targets, so you can get an accurate range for the position fixing of the ship when you are coasting. and you cite a land nearby. And also for parallel indexing, these are pretty good for parallel indexing too. These steep ones, the ones which are protruding. Hillocks, flat coasts, sandy shore, sandhills, dunes, spot heights, contour lines with values in spot lines. This basically means the height. This is 259 meter. This is 200 meter. Basically, whichever place that line is joining are of equal heights. Spot heights, like of that particular spot, it's different from the contour one. Approximate ones, like these are not defined, like not very accurate. Water features, lava, all the water bodies and their features like a lake, a river stream, intermittent river, rapids, waterfalls, glaciers, lava flow, cultural features, settlement buildings, urban area. It's these are not that much important. Road, railways, and airfields. You can make out which one is a tunnel, which one is an embankment, a road, a motorway, airport, helipad, fixed bridge, footbridge with the horizontal clearance to compare with the ship's breadth and to know whether to know how much of clearance is there and then take it into account for the banking effect or whatever. Vertical distances for the air draft for calculation of how much tide you need if you do, how much low tide you need to pass under it. So for all that purpose, landmarks, again this is not so important from the exam perspective. Ports, all the features in the ports, a breakwater. You guys know what a breakwater is. It's basically to reduce the effect of the rough seas coming inside the port and which end up damaging the ship's ropes and all because of the heavy swell. These act as a barrier to the shore, to the ports. Ports. This is ports continued, and tides. All the symbols related to tides. All the meanings, terms relating to tidal levels. Chart datum, lowest astronomical tide, highest astronomical tide, mean low water, mean high water, mean low water spring, mean high water spring. These terminologies are you need to be pretty conversant with these for for the tidal calculations. Like the highest of the spring is called mean high water spring, the lower spring is called mean low water spring, and you can read about it with respect to the moon's position and how is it happening. Tides and currents, these heights. This diagram is really important. If you get this correct, you can understand a lot of concepts. This is the charted vertical clearance from HAT. So the most important thing here is from which reference are you measuring the height. For example, drying height is from the charted depth, usually LAT on Admiralty charts, and the clearance of the bridge, overhead power cable clearance, charted elevation of the lighthouse. So go through this once and yeah, be familiar. Tides and currents, what symbol means which kind of a tide. Is it a spring tide or is it a neap one? Current in restricted waters, overfalls, tide drips, races, eddies. These you need to be aware about. These eddies are pretty notorious for navigation. Strong currents, circular currents. Yeah, you can just go through these. The soundings and drying heights. Drying heights, as we discussed, the height at which it will be exposed above the water level, that particular obstruction. Depths, these are important. These symbols are pretty common in the exams. Depth contours, nature of seabed, as I mentioned before, for anchoring, you want to know which kind of nature the seabed has, what type is it, and accordingly you can calculate the holding power of the anchor. This is again very important from the exam perspective. It's very often asked. The rocks, wrecks, obstructions, depth swept by wire drag or confirmed by diver, safe clearance depths. Continue, it's important. You need to know all these symbols, masts, wreck. You need to make sure that you don't draw a course over it. It's extremely dangerous. Offshore installations, name of oil or gas field, offshore wind farms, all the windmills, wave farm, renewable energy device. So basically, they produce energy using the sea waves. So you need to be aware of all these mooring buoys, single point mooring, production platform, submarine cable, very important. It's asked very often. Submarine pipelines, track routes, leading beacons. It's talking about the track routes, what it means, area to be avoided, how you are supposed to proceed in a TSS, and yeah, you can just refer to it later on. Radio calling point. This is also asked in the exam. Which one is which? Anchorage marked. Reported anchorage. Anchor birds. Anchor birds with swinging circle. With all the limits of continental shelf, national fishery limits, custom limits, limits of exclusive economic zone, which is usually 200 nautical miles. So yeah, you need to be aware of these, of the international boundaries and the various reportings you need to make. Beacons, lights, which kind of light it is, what's the flashing interval, and how can they be an aid for navigation, because the sector lights sometimes they have a particular sector and the light would change after that, so you know that with respect to light where the ship's position is. So it's a great aid for navigation. You can take the light a beam and reading lights for this can be used for getting the compass error, and yeah, for knowing that the ship is within the limits and within the safe waters. Yeah, this is light continued buoys and beacons, different buoys, starboard, port, and that you need to figure out using the ILA buoy system depending on which part of the world your ship is in. Buoys and beacons, yeah, these are symbols for all the buoys and beacons. Conical, can, pillar, spar, barrel buoy, light float, a light vessel, basically a small boat which has been converted to a light. Mooring buoy, numerous moorings, visitors. Yeah, just have a look. This is the Isla Maritime Voyage System. So if you're in North or South America, you need to follow the B, Isla B. And here in Japan and Korea, you need to follow B. A, India, Australia, Europe, UK, all that is A. This is the cardinal mark diagram. This is the point of interest. So if it's a north cardinal mark, the safe water lies to the north of it, indicating navigable waters to the name side of the mark. Cardinal marks have the same meaning in regions A and B. Pilot, this is a very common symbol. All of you know about this, I guess. Pilots transferred by helicopter. You know that the pilot will be coming by a helicopter and not a pilot boat. Data quality indicators. CATZOC. You guys know what CATZOC means. It basically tells you how reliable the information is with those 6 stars. And the more the number of stars, more accurate the thing is, the depth or whatever the indication is. So yeah, that's it guys. That brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much.